All right, well, peace. First and foremost, man. Hopefully, the most high in your house shall bless your day. By His mercies, we are consumed. We're alive in the most high in your house shall body, and two we're naturally alive, man. And I kind of want to get this too, man, because shout out to the brother Sim being firstborn. I was watching his class one of his older classes yesterday, man, and it kind of ties into something we talked about last week, man, about like this whole self-care thing, man, because actually, shoot, just something that just happened recently this morning, man. Just how this new age self-care thing is really like Second Timothy says. Let's get this Second Timothy when it says lovers of themselves, man. That's what the self-care thing, new age self-care type of thing is. Because I mentioned like last week I was at the camp I'm at. My students, they were watching the video, man. They were kind of scrolling on YouTube, and I seen the thumbnail, and there was a young sister. She was in the store, and she was like buying stuff, and the title in the thumbnail says self-care. So then it kind of most on your house shot kind of like, I came to the conclusion that okay, that's what this stuff is about. This self-care stuff is about, man. It's really like self-worship, man. But also too, it's like when people make a bunch of bad decisions, and then then they want to claim self-care or something like that for like, no, it's just you may had made a bunch of bad decisions, and this now it's just like that self-care. No, it's just like that's not self-care, because the word actually does go into what self-care is. Like if you read right Ecclesiastes 30 and 21, like love thy own soul, let not sorrow. Like we're gonna get into this, but let's grab this to 2 Timothy chapter 3 verse 1. It says, "This know that in the last days perilous times shall come, for men shall be lovers of them own self, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy." So yeah, exactly, man. So yeah, man, that's just, it is what it is, man. That's like shout out to actually my dad, to my pop, my father, man, because he used to always, before I came to work, because he's your witness, but he used to always, that scripture always resonated with me, man. Like, I'm pretty sure for your brothers and sisters too, man. But here's what actual, like, the word does actually go into real actual self-care, man. And also too, look, taking care of others, man, because what it too, like, we pray for strength, like that, so we can strengthen others. That's what I was gonna say Psalms. That's what Psalm said. Like 51, David said, "Listen, cleanse me, O Lord, so I can help others. Like fix me, then I can help others. Then I can convert others. Then maybe even what Peter said to Yahushua. He said, "Listen, I pray that I pray for you so that you can be strengthened. Like, but then once you get strengthened, strengthen your brother, man. So that's what it's about, man. Honestly, but a lot of times too, a lot of us we can't do that because a lot of times people, they ain't healed from things in their life or things they're going through past real actual traumas. Not because I shout the brother send me firstborn, man. Because there's trauma, this real trauma actually. Because the real definition of trauma is something that alters the brain, like the brother send me firstborn said, that can alter like a life experience or something that happened or experience or event that occurred that really alters the brain, that's really a real trauma thing. Trauma is not like not having the childhood and stuff like that you wanted, or like the life that you wanted, like growing up, or that's not really like, especially the childhood trauma. That's not it. But that's like once like seeing your parents get killed in front of you, or parents on drugs heavy, or they overdosed in front of you, raped, or so some manner, I would say verbal abuse, things of that nature. I would say stuff like that, but that's kind of a dicey thing because depending on what it is. But I would say that, or any can't eat, can't this and that. That's really experiences like have you not even parents, or having the parents, loved one, friend, relative, whoever, or seeing somebody getting killed in front of you, or anything. Those are like different trauma, actual trauma. Like things that are actually traumatic that can alter the brain, and some other stuff as well, but not this stuff when people kind of say that, but not having the childhood or stuff like that, or even now like the life that they wanted. No, that's not it. So yeah, man. But let's get this Ecclesiastes chapter 30 verse 21. It says, "Give not thy mind over to heaviness, and afflict thyself not in thy own counsel. The gladness of the heart is the life of man, and the joyfulness shall prolong his days. Love thine own soul." This is verse 23. Ecclesiastes 30, verse 23. Sirach 30, verse 23. "Love thy own soul, and comfort thy heart, and remove thy far from thee, and for sorrow hath killed it, for it hath killed many, and there is no profit therein." Yeah. Those are things that, and how you get that love, man, when you love it. Because what did Tobit say? Tobit 12 says, like, you know, in Proverbs says, listen, he that love righteousness, love his own soul. Pretty much, so he that love faithfulness. When you love the Most High, how you gonna love even yourself, man? Even if you out the word, man, have some, like, you know, love yourself, exactly, so you could, so, like, you know, you could love others as well. But you should be loving others, because love seeking out its own as well. Like, you know, not just you just loving yourself, because it's not always about me. It's not always about you, because you know what it is. It's the Bishop effect. Like me and my dad was talking about last week when I went over his house, man. And that's the thing. That's a big. That's what big. That's a big curse. That goes back to evil eye. That goes into us loving our. We don't even love ourselves. We don't even love the Most High house, child. Because of that, when they said that love of many, people aren't gonna love themselves. So, like, you know, because remember that Bishop be saying, Juice, he said, listen, I don't love myself. So once I decide that you ain't gonna be nothing, like you know, then I'm not gonna be nothing. Then you gonna be nothing. I'm pretty much paraphrasing, but he said because Bishop, he didn't love himself. So of course he's not gonna love anybody else, man. So, you know, that's just is what it is right there. But back to that, man, like, you know, because something happened earlier this morning, man. I can't be, and I gotta handle it like soon, man. I can't, because I had dropped my phone in some water, man. But you know, I found myself getting a little upset, man. But you know, I can't, man, because you know what it is too. I can't get too upset with especially things that are self-inflicted, man. But shout out to brother sent me firstborn, man, because he was going into that, man, on one of the older classes I was watching yesterday. We got an example for something that in the law for that, man. What 1 Peter 2:20 says, like, especially because when you go through things, different trials and tribulations, man, especially when it's self-inflicted. Because sometimes we always say this. Sometimes it's the Most High Yahushua trying you for our perfection, constantly taking us through that furnace of affliction. That's what it is. Depending on sometimes too, because you don't always want to lead as judgment, because that's what Job's friend, that's what Satan does. That's what accusing people. That's the spirit of Satan. That's is what it is. Like putting sin on people. That's is what it is. Now let me say this too. Depending on how you living, or like, you know, what you're doing, or like, you know, how you living, what you're doing, like, you know, then yeah, it could be like, you know, it could be what you call them, it could be judgment, man. It could be what you call them, like an actual judgment. And sometimes 3 is actual life, man. This is time and chance. This is life, like, you know. And that goes into, like we always say, like we kind of talked about here. When I talk about men, like death even isn't always judgment for some people, man. It's like one, it could just be time. Of course, one, it could actually be, now it can be judgment, but one, it could be like that Isaiah 57:1 and 2 Kings says, and Wisdom Solomon, that Most High house shall taken certain people away for the evil come, like, you know. Or 2, it could actually be judgment. Or 3, just time and chance. So that's a balance type of thing. But let's grab this too, because self-inflicted things, like you can't say all the self-care and get people feel sorry for you, or you feeling sorry for yourself for things that are self-inflicted. That goes for me as well, man, because I'm doing this because I kind of had that moment this morning, like, you know, or like, you know, even things that's been going on in my life, man. I was like, you know what, it's on me at the end of the day too, man. Like, you know, like the Brother Chronicles do say, man, like, you know, always blame yourself. Even situations that, you know, that even sometimes I'm right and I had to blame myself. I could have been better than that. But let's grab this too. 1 Peter chapter 2 verse 20. So it says, "For what glory is it when ye be buffeted for your own faults? Well, ye shall take it patiently. But if ye do well and suffer for it, ye take it patiently. This is acceptable with Yahweh." So see, exactly, this is what we just talked about. One, this is like one, it could be judgment. So what glory? Like, why do you want, like, you know, people? Like, you know, why you want one, the Most High Yahushua, and other people to feel sorry for you, or like, you know, some type of sympathy for stuff that you're doing, and that's where this whole new age self-care thing and stuff like that, like, you know, comes in there. But also this happened. There's an example in this in law in the beginning. We're gonna get into that. So yeah, but 2, like I said, but now if you're going through affliction for the Most High Yahushua's sake, like, you know, they're bringing you through that trial and tribulation, man. Like, you know, you know, as it says all throughout the word, man, like, you know, because we're going to have to go through it. Each righteous generation went through that, so we're going to have to go through it. There's nothing wrong with that, man. It's like, you know, but take it, like, you know, cheerfully, man. Like, you know, and it's easier said than done, man. But, like, you know, we read that, what you call them, you know, in the word, man, take it cheerfully, like Sarah too. Also too, man, because also too, it says in Ecclesiasticus, man, you know, don't have much pleasure and good cheer, man. So it's like, okay, the same, that dichotomy is there, the same way, because this is even for me, I'm really talking about myself, the same way I can have, like, when I'm having a good time, like, I can have a good time, having a cheerful time, be cheerful when I'm having a good time. I should be having, like, a good time. I should be having, no, I should be having that same cheer. Like, I should be having that same cheer when going through, no, let's grab this. When we're going through trial and tribulation, man. Let's grab this, man, real quick, man. Ecclesiastes chapter, Ecclesiastes chapter 18 verse 32. Take not much pleasure in good cheer, neither be tied to expense thereof. So this is going to always being like a party and always having a good time. Because you know what it is too? Shout out to Brother Simby first one, because he said this too. As men, we really should be focused on having a good time. Like all that having, like, that's really what women do. They really, not all, but majority of them think like, life is supposed to be this big roller coaster, and like, supposed to be having a good time, man. But you know what it is too? That's that Jeremiah 62, because even people like have that. Even even our people do that. So, and this is another video for another day too. But so yeah, because Cyndi Lauper made a song back in the day, and it's true. Girls just want to have fun. So, but as men, we shouldn't really just always be seeking to have fun, but we should seek to have a good time. But even that has to be balanced as well. But notice how it says this too, because this is really why I'm bringing this up. While we're bringing this out, I'm sorry. It says, Ecclesiastes chapter 18, verse 32. It says, take not much pleasure in good cheer, neither be tied to expense thereof. So see, notice how it says you can be cheerful. Notice how it says, like, it goes into like when you're having a good time, when you're out and you're doing whatever hobbies that you do, or like going out here, or a movie here, or a concert here, this whatever you like to do, you can be cheerful then. But how much more should like when it comes to spiritual matters should I be cheerful in it? Because this is like, cutting me right now, man. Because it says, Ecclesiastes chapter 2 verse 4, it says, whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully. Be patient with thou in the change to a low state. So yeah, when you go through trials and tribulation in the low state, you should be cheerful then too, man. So that goes into like, that goes into that Psalm 62:8, trusting in the Lord at all times, man. Even like, the joy of the Lord at all times, man. Because you know what it is too? Like, even Yahushua, when he was about to die, before he even died, man, when he was with his 12, when he was with his disciples, man, he was singing psalms of praise and hymns, man. So that's just what it is, man. But that's another story for another day. But yeah, let's grab this. 1 Peter chapter 2 verse 20. For what glory is it when ye are buffeted for your own faults? Ye shall take it patiently. But if ye do well and suffer for it and take it patiently, this is acceptable for this is acceptable with Yahweh. And this is actually this is mentioned in Cain too, because this is talking about Cain, because isn't this is using the same verbiage as in Genesis 4, where he says, listen, why are you, he's saying that, no, this is, see, he tells you to end from the beginning right here, because this is the same thing in a roundabout way he said to Cain, because it's like, yo, what you got your face frowned down for? Like, because listen, isn't this something that you did? But if you suffer well for my name's sake, if you do what's pretty much the Most High House is saying here, if you do my will, then this is be acceptable. Our lives, which is, because remember, Cain's sacrifice wasn't accepted, but now that Romans 12:1, our lives is a sacrifice. So now, like, if you do what my will, suffer for my namesake, go through his trials and tribulation, the furnace of affliction, this will be acceptable. But he's saying the same thing that he told. Listen, man, we dealing with the same God, man. We dealing with the same entity, man. The Most High House, they changed not, man. So it tells you the end from the beginning, man. So this is the same type of deal, man. So he's saying the same thing that he said to Cain. So anyway, but yeah, man. But anyway, man, let's get this another example in the law, man, with this, man, because it says, for what glory is it, stop it, spirit, for when ye be befuddled for your own faults, when ye shall take it patiently, but if ye do well, suffer for it, take it patiently, this is acceptable with Yahweh. So yeah, but see, here's somebody like, we got an example of somebody that that wanted sympathy, like, but when it's something that they did, like, that's why, like, that's why it says, Proverbs says, and James said, all throughout the word, it says confessing our fault, and like, and being accountable, man. Like, honestly, man, like even Hosea 13:9 says, Israel, you done this to thyself. It's like, it's our fault, just as a people, like, the state that we're in, man. Even individually, our lives, and it's like, that's my fault, man. That's No, I did that, man. Like, it is what it is, and that's really quote unquote standing on business, man. That's is what it is, man. Because even like something, like the I think every time, like one of my favorite shows, of course, that we always talk about is like The Wire. But one of the good things about that show in The Wire, that like majority of, not all of them, majority of the characters did, whether it was in the street, whether it's gangsters or either it was police and the law enforcement, like or even the judicial system they work for, or even regular, they all when they about to get free, except not all, but when majority of the characters in the show is about to face their consequences, or face their fate or meet their fate, they all stood on it. They all said, okay, it's my time. All right, cool. I decided to do this. You gonna kill me? All right, kill me. All right, cool. You gonna fire me? You gonna fire me? You gonna let me go? Let me go, man. So it's not all the characters, majority of the characters, man. That's why, and that's really just what really standing on business is, man. That's being accountable, and that's the Lord's business, man. Because that's the biggest thing. One of the biggest things that He wants is accountability, man. Honestly, man. So. But here's somebody like that what you call them, that did the same thing. Well, we ran First Peter 2:20. Here's somebody that did the opposite, man. Like he did something like he rejected the Most High Yahushua and wanted somebody to feel sorry for him, man, because it's something that you did. But of course, Genesis 27 verse 34. And when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with exceedingly bitter cry, and said unto the father, Bless me, even my father. Verse 35. He said, Thy brother came with subtlety, and had taken away thy blessing. Exactly. In verse 36, he said, Is he rightly named Jacob? For he has supplanted me these 2 times, and took away my birthright. And behold, he had taken away my blessing, and he said, Hast thou not reserved a blessing for me? So yeah, exactly. So see now, and because what it is too. People like that's really evil and wicked. Like that's really like earthly and worldly. But what it is, that's actually perfect. Because a lot of times when you hear people saying Jacob was a thief and stuff like that, like really just like this being so disrespectful. But that's along with people like saying stuff about David, like Moses and don't get me wrong, we learn from their mistakes. This is for our learning, but it's like Adam and Eve talking about people way more righteous than you, and Jacob, the blessing was always meant for Jacob. Jacob was a perfect man, and we kind of went this whole Jacob Esau thing. So that's is what it is. Esau knew what he was rejecting. He knew exactly. He rejected the Most High Yahushua for for his own lust, for his own desires, and he has no excuses. The same exact thing, even worse conditions happened to Yahushua, and he stood by the word, man. That's it. That Job 23:12 came in. Listen, he desired the word, the necessary food, man. Or in that Romans 8, nothing separated him from the love for his father. That's really nothing so separate us from the love in the Most High Yahushua. But yeah, man. But notice how he rejected the Most High Yahushua, man. Like he said, pretty much rejected being a son of the Most High Yahushua, man. That's what the promise was, him being the firstborn and stuff like that. But it's the same thing with Cain and Abel, like we just said. He was a child of the. He wasn't the child. He was the son of the promise, man. Yeah, he was the son of the serpent. He's wicked. So. Yeah, but notice how he started crying and things of that nature. But something that he didn't. I just was looking at him like, nigga, what you want me to do? You did that. Like, what do you mean? You said what profited, this birthright, does me. Like, what's that we talked about? It was something else that we talked about. Oh my gosh, I forgot where we talked about this. But yeah, man, it's just like it didn't he didn't see it, man. It is what it is, man. So, yeah, man. He says he despised his birthright, man. You hated the Most High Yahushua, man. So it's just yeah, man. That's just it is what it is right there, man. So, and plus even the brother, shout out to brother sent me first one, like he said, man. Had it not been in that situation, it eventually came out. Just it didn't have to be it eventually was gonna come out some other way, man, because he despised his birthright, man. He knew exactly what he was rejecting, man. So yeah, man. And that's that First Peter 2:20, man. So all right, cool. Let's get to Hebrews 12. Hebrews chapter 12. It says, Hebrews chapter 12. It says, least there be any fornicator or profane worldly, that means profane is, as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. It says, for ye know that how afterward he had inherited a blessing, he was rejected. He found no place of repentance, though he saw carefully with tears. So yeah, man. So yeah, man. That's just good what it is, that man. So hopefully it's edifying, man. Like that God goes into that, like for our own faults, man. So yeah, man. Hopefully it's edifying, man. So peace.